A warm welcome to one and all present over here. We will start the session in another 3 to 4 minutes. We're waiting for a few leaders to join. A warm welcome to one and all present over here. Very good morning to all the school leaders and teachers who have joined on a Sunday morning right at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining for this particular session. It's our duty and responsibility to make sure that this is as productive as possible. Some of the leaders are here on Zoom meeting. Some of them are there on YouTube live streaming. We will try to be there on the chat with both the areas. And I'm looking forward for a great interactive session. My name is Vasudevan, and I work here at Super Teacher Edu Reforms Private Limited as one of the trainers and a chief operating officer. I'm working with a competency-based education system for the last 2 years on various pedagogies, on teaching learning strategies, and importantly, assessment systems as well. In regards to that, I've been conducting multiple sessions with CBSE and NCRT, and specifically at the areas of Google for Education. I'm one of the Google certified trainers with which I've been conducting the effective pedagogy for conducting online classes as well. So I would like to ensure that this particular class, which is happening online, proves to be one of the actually active and interactive classes, and has its impact just like the way it has with physical interactions. I hail from Bangalore right now, and if any schools out there would like to have trainings conducted in Bangalore or any other region across the globe, I would be able to travel right from tomorrow onwards. So if there is any principal or the teacher would like to interact with us, kindly contact us through the website. We have got the toll-free numbers over there, or else you can contact me from LinkedIn profile. I'll be able to reach out to everyone as and when required. So let's quickly start with the session for today. Thank you for joining once again. And today I'll ensure that the class, which is going to happen for the next 2 hours from this particular time till 11, 11:10 or 11:15 maximum, I give a brief just about the whole understanding of competency-based education system in India. Right now, it is quite a trending topic, and many schools have been opting for ways and methods to incorporate competency-based education system in their respective schools. So when we talk about CBE as a curriculum, it's a massive shift from the way things have been worked upon since quite a long time. Now, when we talk about the education system in India, there was a requirement of a certain type of learning, and that's the reason whatever was happening was happening. For example, back in those days, for the children to learn something before the schooling system in India, quite a long time ago, we used to have Gurukul system. Students used to travel from one place to another to be with their own teachers, live in a surrounding which satisfy that learning, and that's how Gurukul system got prevalent, especially in Asian countries and in India. Over the period of time, subsequently, the things got changed a little bit, and both the teacher and the students started going to certain location, and which we call as school, to maintain some uniformity, to break down some barriers of different caste or different group of people, and that became quite successful. We are following that still today. In fact, till today, there was a time wherein right after the schools, I mean right after the students and the teachers going to one particular place, nobody was traveling anywhere in the last 2 years, but still the schooling was happening. Hence the education system was rapidly changing the way of its implementation. However, having said that, right after the industrial age, since 1900s, there was a time when the leaders of the society, like the big industrialists, who were considered to be the people who are running the whole globe, started requiring people in their factories and industries. IT was not so prominent, computers were not so prominent, technology was not there at all at that particular time, and with whatever manual work the people had to do, these leaders called them to their factories and industries and asked them to work. And at that particular time, you'll be surprised to know that these people who are working in these places needed to have this capacity of remembering things, remembering steps from top to bottom in an order. Even if they are asked what would you do next, even in their sleep, they were supposed to say that. Hence mugging up was the requirement at that particular time, and hence the terminology rote learning came into existence. It's just like, a washing machine, say for example. A washing machine, when it was first manufactured or made, we just programmed it in a certain order. Like if this type of cloth is there, this is how it is supposed to happen, this is how it's supposed to rinse the cloth, and that's how it's supposed to dry. In fact, a fun fact about washing machine, there are washing machine these days by Samsung and few other companies which can even iron your clothes and give it you back. Yes, and in case if anybody's out there, I'm planning to purchase it. It's also called as foldy mate. It's like for folding the clothes and all, but it's part of the washing machine itself. The biggest task of our daily life, you know, then that got automated. The point here is, once you turn on this washing machine, till the clothes are getting folded, till that particular step, you don't have to do anything. And this washing machine is going to remain the same forever. So this particular aspect of washing machine's performance can be directly compared with the way humans used to work in those days, especially in 1950s, 1960s, and right after 1970 and 80, people started thinking, is it really required? Should I be in the same order? Why don't we try some other industry? Karke other industries started developing, and then came the revolutionary computer or technology into picture. And that's when people started understanding, I can make my work little easy. Hard work started having another terminology called as smart work. People started programming and coding, and a lot of things got automated in the picture. And now here we are. Teachers, what I'm trying to tell you over here is, based on the requirement of a certain era, the education system was getting modified. The last time when a massive change in the education system happened was in the year 2005. And that's when NCRT came up with a massive change in the curriculum's approach called as National Curriculum Framework 2005. And we've been following that rigorously, religiously for the last 15, 20, 25 years. But right now 20 years ideally. So right now we have a deep requirement of another change in the system, and that's where new education policy 2020 came into picture. Now we will be following this for how long, I'm not really sure about it, but the way the things are getting changed, it's really massive, really fast. Right now there is a lot of importance given to coding, but there's a time when AI will take over. Probably I need to have another change in the system very soon, probably in the 10 years or 12 years down the line. So the point is the requirement of change in the system, once it brimmed at the top of the system right now, the new policies keep happening. One such policy right now, which is the prime aspect of national education or new education policy 2020, is competency based education. Now this particular session is going to be all about that. We will have multiple interactions over the chat right now. If there is any question at any time, or please feel free to put it on the chat. We will be discussing lots and lots of other aspects, and we'll continue with the class. So before going ahead, I would like to quickly give you my background as well, though I have introduced myself. My name is Vasudevan for the people who have joined now, and I come from a background of teachers. That's kind of little uncomfortable because my mother teaches science and maths, and my father teaches social studies and English. So all the four major subjects are covered in my home. In fact, if you come to my home, which you should, you'll be able to see periodic table hanging on one side and the world political map on the other side. So that's going to be that was a kind of environment in which I was uh, brought up, and subsequently over the period of time, I got an interest towards education system, maybe because of the blood in it. I was like, okay, I have got a lot of exposure, I've attended a lot of tuitions, so let's try something over here. So that's how I became the trainer. But my background is engineering. I have completed my robotics engineering, and I specialize in STEM education, and I've been conducting classes and making models for STEM education across the country and a few countries in Middle East as well. So right after that, now once competency based education came into picture, for the last 2 years, I've been working on various papers that was released by British Council and even NCRT and CBSE for that matter during the pandemic, especially, and incorporation of technology into this particular system. So that's how I nurtured my training skills. And right now, I'm here in front of you to talk about competency based education system. I will make sure that in the next 2 hours, this session is giving you at least the overview and an overarching understanding of CBE, because this is not possible to be conducted in 2 hours for sure. To have a detailed understanding of this particular training program with proper hands-on activities at respective schools, if any school leader out there would like to know about it, it'll be of great support if you can call us, reach out to us, and we'll be there in the school to conduct these workshops. However, let's quickly start with the session. I would like to ask all the leaders and teachers out there, can somebody please tell me any learning, whenever it happens, whenever we come across a learning system, anything, even it could be cooking, or even it could be riding a bike, or a bicycle, or driving a car, there are three things that are involved along with it. Can somebody point it out on the chat? Like, what are the three major things that are involved with any learning process? Try, go, give an attempt. It's a simple question. Most of you know about it. The moment I say the answer, it'll be like, yes, I've heard about it. Come on. Yes, teachers. Okay, just a minute. Interest, okay, to follow rules. You're very close, but it can get better. Come on. Self-confidence, no. Passion. See, interest, self-confidence, passion, rules. I'm really fascinated with the answers because the moment I come up with the right terminologies, you'll be surprised because these are the things that are given. Motivation, that's great. Determination, fantastic, but not right. Three skills, three important things are associated with any learning process. Concentration, no.
Previous knowledge.
uh
Previous knowledge.
very close. Knowledge is the right answer. One of the element is knowledge. Absolutely, Sarabjit ma'am.
Previous.
uh
Previous knowledge.
oh,
Previous knowledge. Try to
previous
check
knowledge.
previous knowledge and prepare for the next step.
Absolutely. Knowledge aspect, absolutely, Sarabjit ma'am. The other two aspects, think about it. How to do, you're very close, Janardhan sir, but you're not using the right terminology. That's all. Knowledge, exactly. Simi ma'am has given the answer. Skill is the right answer. The second aspect of any learning process is skill, knowledge, skill, and the third one is desire. Close, Padra ma'am, but not the right word used there. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Umakant sir,
Yes,
right?
sir. Desire to learn. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Desire to learn.
desire to learn is absolutely right, but you're not using the right terminology. That's all. Come on, go ahead.
Sir, implementation.
Implementation,
Implementation.
No, no, not.
passion, application. Application is skill. Absolutely, application is skill. The third component, come on, it's very simple. Knowledge, skills, and the third component. In fact, we talk about all these three elements every year. Every year, teachers undergo this training right in the beginning of an academic year. These are some
Capacity building. Capacity
uh,
building.
capacity building under that. What? Yeah, you're very close, Sarabjit ma'am. I'll give just last 30 seconds and then we'll quickly get into it. And if I say, you will be like, Arey, I knew this. I knew this right before. Application is skills, Liji ma'am. Practicing skill again. Understanding
Training,
associates. No, not training. Training is again.
attitude.
Attitude is the right answer. Absolutely. Who said that?
Raju
Attitude.
Singh.
Raju sir, absolutely. Attitude is the right answer. Whenever there is a learning involved, there are three things that are associated with it. One is called as knowledge, the second one is called as a skill, and the third one is called as attitude. Everything, the words like passion, the words like motivation, the words like dedication, somebody said desire, somebody said focus, somebody said I really liked determination and motivation, because these were the terminologies that was used first. Hence, knowledge, skills, and attitude are the three primary things that are getting involved in any learning process. In fact, this is also called as KSA triangle. If you Google about it, you will come to know a lot more amazing information about what is KSA triangle. This is for any human being at any age, and this gets bifurcated to multiple areas. Now you will be able to connect the point even in a better manner. When I talk about KSA, there was this person in the world of education who actually revolutionized the whole approach to teaching learning strategies and provided a hierarchy in these areas. Knowledge was directly catered to cognitive domain. I'll repeat it. Knowledge was directly catered to cognitive domain. Cognitive means anything that has to be done with the brain, thinking abilities. And this cognitive domain had this hierarchy of remember, understand, then I think it's apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Then right after cognitive domain, just like the way we have skills, it was directly catered to psychomotor domain. And this psychomotor domain also had certain hierarchy: perception, set, response, complex overt response, origination. And then with respect to attitude, or we call that as an more like an emotions, was directly catered to the third domain called as, can somebody tell me what is the third domain and whom am I talking about?
Affective domain.
Affective domain. Absolutely, Rahina ma'am, you're absolutely right. Affective domain is all about the emotions that are involved or the attitude that is involved to learn something. And these are the three areas: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain, which was spoken by the most intelligent, or we can say a guy who always meets us every year, called as Benjamin Bloom, Bloom's taxonomy. When we talk about Bloom's taxonomy, it formed the basis of creating lesson plans, understanding lower order thinking skills, higher order thinking skills, and all these things. National Curriculum Framework talks heavily about incorporate HOTS in the class. And it's directly about Bloom's taxonomy. So knowledge, skill, attitude getting developed to cognitive, psychomotor, and the affective domain now got evolved, or the evolution happened, and it came as competency based education system. Let me share my screen and talk to you about what exactly is competency based education system. You'll get a very clear picture of it, but throughout the class, try to remember the three terminologies of KSA. That will give you a very good perspective to relate things with respect to CBE. However, having said this, competency based education system has got nothing to do with Bloom's taxonomy as such. It's a whole new approach, but yes, there are some derivations that are happening from this area as well. Let me share my screen. I've got a lot of PowerPoint presentations and slides, but I'll not show all of them. I'll not bore you with all of them. However, this is definitely going to be very useful for you when I share all these things right after the class. So here in this case, we go to this particular area, and right now I would like to play a small video. Some of you would have already seen this particular video, and this is from Diksha app, the one where the lady is present. You'll be able to find it even online on Diksha mobile application or Diksha website about competency based education system. It's quite overview, overarching, so I would really not play that video right now, but this particular one, please watch this. You'll get some perspective or an idea of how the session is going to be. I click over here, I click over here. It's going to be a proper. Yes.
Hi, my name is Justin Reich, and I'm a professor at MIT, and I'm the director of the Teaching Systems Lab, where we design, implement, and research the future of teacher learning. We're interested in how schools grow and change, and how teachers learn throughout their careers. When school systems get excited about approaches to school change like competency-based education, or CBE, we think it's a great opportunity to engage with educators and to learn more about their beliefs about teaching and learning, and what they think the future of schools should look like. Across the US and around the world, schools are experimenting with CBE. For example, our lab is located in the New England region of the United States, where several state legislatures have passed competency-based education legislation and policy with mixed results. Some districts have found these policies to be catalysts for rethinking teaching and learning in powerful, student-centered ways. And others have found the demands for change too difficult, or found that adopting competency-based strategies doesn't address the underlying problems that CBE has the potential to address. What exactly is competency-based education? There's no single agreed-upon definition, but we see some common elements in programs that call themselves competency-based. Most school curricula today are organized around how much time students spend in different courses. The amount of time that students spend, say, in math class is fixed, 52 minutes, 4 years of high school math. But the learning is variable. Some students master the material and many don't. Competency-based education tries to shift the emphasis from how time is allotted to whether or not students can demonstrate well-defined competencies. Here, the competencies are fixed, a commitment that every student will master the fundamentals, but the time invested and the learning pathways vary from student to student. To master competencies, students need to know what the competencies are. Teachers in schools make competencies explicit and help students track their progress towards those competencies. Students use the competencies as a map to the content and skills that they need to learn in school. Assessment of these competencies is an ongoing process rather than a single summative event. In schools today, if a student fails a test, the class often keeps moving forward through new material. In competency-based environments, students are often given more than one opportunity to demonstrate competency, and extra support as needed. If a student fails a test or a section of a test, it means that they need more support there, so those shortcomings don't keep compounding as the concepts get more complicated. In the very best implementations of CBE, these elements together mean that students and teachers know what they need to teach and learn. Students have some choice and agency in how they learn and how they demonstrate their learning. When students struggle, teachers and students work together to address the problem rather than continuing along and hoping that students will figure it out later. One challenge in understanding competency-based education is a proliferation of terms and definitions. We use the term competency-based education, but people referring to proficiency-based learning or mastery-based learning are often talking about similar things. Some learning competencies look very similar to learning objectives that you might see for an individual subject or class. For example, list the different parts of a plant cell and describe functions of major organelles. While other things called competencies are much larger in scope and less tied to particular subject matter. For example, present ideas concisely and clearly, using visual material to illustrate key points. Educators and others are still trying to figure out the right size and scope for competencies in competency-based education. For some schools, competency-based education is a way of refining traditional aspects of teaching and learning. My own kids go to an elementary school that uses a competency-based report card, which lists competencies in math and reading and art and social behavior. However, most of the instruction is pretty traditional, meaning lots of small group work and instruction directed at the whole class, but quite good instruction. Thank you, Miss Perry. Thanks, Miss Case. For other schools, competency-based education is a way for the schools to dramatically rethink time in and out of the classroom, schedules, assessments, project instructions, and to rethink the skills graduates need to succeed. In many of the best implementations, a key focus is on issues of equity. How do we build systems where when kids are struggling and not mastering foundational skills, we as educators can identify what supports they need to be ready for the challenges of the future? We know that any institutional change is hard. It requires strategic thinking and a commitment of resources, time, and energy. And it involves frustration, resistance, and challenges. We wanted to make these issues part of the conversation and to give you the tools to consider not only the nature of CBE in general, but what it can mean for your own thinking about teaching, learning, and school change. Our goal is to give you a taste of the range of approaches to competency-based education that schools are exploring. We want to help you understand what problems competency-based education is trying to solve, how different schools are implementing competency-based education in response to those problems, and the opportunities these different implementations present. We want to empower you to think critically about all of this experimentation and to identify what approaches might be worth trying in your own contexts.
So that was with respect to competency-based education from a global perspective. This is a content or a video that you can find on MIT website, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where they talk about the education system across the globe and how important competency-based education system is right now, more like a necessity and a requirement. So we can actually watch that, in the website, but yeah, you'll get that link even on YouTube. However, now with respect to Indian scenario, we are going to have a few activities. We're going to try to understand how CBE can be implemented in the school. The whole aspect of Indian education system and CBE actually does not match. For example, CBE says that it has to be a student-based curriculum, but we have a subject-based curriculum which is pre-decided. For example, I need to conduct the class of linear equations in one variable, probably in grade 7 or 8, in 7 periods or 8 periods. However, even if the students are not able to understand, the class must go on to the next chapter, which is against the policy of CBE. Hence, planning a lesson based on time, the whole way of lesson plan, that itself is wrong with respect to CBE. But we cannot change the whole system all of a sudden right now. Hence, right now, the implementation of CBE in the school system in India is going to be more from assessments perspective. We are going to ask questions in such a way that students are going to have the idea of a particular concept by critically thinking over the questions. For example, I'm going to ask a question. Try to answer this question over the chat. You have to say either the first statement is true or the second statement. So whichever statement is true, you have to say that particular number. So I'll be speaking on two statements. You have to tell me which one is true. That's all. So the first statement goes something like this. Please do not get biased that this is science question or maths question or English question. Try to understand from a student perspective. They learn everything at a time. So first statement goes something like this. I breathe in and my lungs expand. That's the first statement. I breathe in and my lungs expand. The second statement says that my lungs expand first and then I breathe in. I'll repeat it. My lungs expand first and then I breathe in. So these are the two statements. Can somebody tell me which one is true? You can put it on the chat. I breathe in and my lungs expand. That's the first statement. My lungs expand first and then I breathe in is the second statement. Which one is true? Go ahead, go ahead. Try to, okay, one is true. One is true. None is true. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Please go ahead. One of them is true, Raju sir. Like it's there in the book. That's why. Abhishek says second statement is true. Markan says, okay, 2, 1. Rosemary ma'am, okay, that's great. 1, 1. Okay, okay, I understand. 1, 2. Try to get committed to a particular answer. When you do that, the remembrance of the right answer will be there for a longer time. If you're right, then the appreciation factor will trigger some, chemicals in your brain, which will make you remember the things for a longer time. If it's a wrong answer, then the factor of regret. That there is one word which I'm forgetting. I'm so sorry. So that particular factor will make sure that you remember the right answer. So there are two statements. I breathe in and my lungs expand. First statement. My lungs expand first and then I breathe in as the second statement. Please mention which one is true. Everybody has to mention something on the chat. That's great. That's great. I'm able to see some responses on the Zoom as well. Thank you so much. On YouTube as well. Okay, most of you out the last 5 seconds. If anybody wants to change your answer, you can still do it. Okay, okay, Raju sir, thank you so much for getting committed to one answer. That's great. Okay, that's great. So the right answer here is everybody who said the statement 1 to be true are wrong. The right statement is statement number 2. First the lungs expand and then you breathe in. So the unsung hero over here, like some of you would have actually used your hands to check. You would have kept your hands on the stomach and you would have checked. I do not know if you've done that, but the point here is we can't really feel the lungs expansion. It's the diaphragm that's present. The unsung hero is the diaphragm over here, which expands the lungs and the air goes inside. So that's how it actually works. But there is a very big misconception for the students and even to me when I came to look at the NCRT book during my initial years of career, that right after my engineering, that was the time when I actually realized that's not the way it works. This is the way it works. So the lungs have to expand to create space, and once space is created, the air goes inside. Forget about the technicalities. Second thing with respect to this particular aspect of lungs is the moment a science teacher talks about the lungs or a biology teacher talks about lungs, the beautiful fact is right in the next class in social studies, a social teacher, for example, Uma Kansar, is going to talk about low tides and high tides. And the best part is, suppose if Shivani ma'am is a max teacher, the next period is max period. She'll be talking about 3D shapes and volumes. The NCRT books have got such kind of a progression wherein every subject is interdependent and interdisciplinary. Now, this aspect of interdisciplinary gives a rise to the fact that every teacher, whatever subject we are teaching with, need to know a little bit about the other subjects as well. And that is the biggest burden of a competency-based education system, especially for teachers. Let me quickly share the slides that I had made. It'll give you a better perspective. Probably you can take some screenshots as well to have a quick glance on your phone whenever you want. So here in this case, I'll go to the module A1. Yes. So we were talking about these things right in the beginning. Quickly, yeah. Yeah. So here we were talking about, we know the world is changing, so does our education system. We spoke about the washing machine, and it's a programmer who did that. And there is a regularity, industrial era, wherein we needed to have people with remembering and understanding skills more. Then the rote learning came into existence. Then there was so many change in different sectors. Then the things started changing. NCF 2005 got introduced. And then again, there was a gap that was growing bigger and bigger because of the rapid advancement in the computer era or digital technologies and slow reforms in the education system. We were not able to fill up the gap because the speed at which the elders or the teachers were able to learn computers, the exposure got equally increased for the students, which is the case even right now. But yeah, despite this, in terms of research and education, NCRT did a lot of things. I'm not really reading each and everything. One of them was based on the vision and recommendation, NEP 2020 got launched. Yes. Now I'm going to the next one. That is where competency-based education system came into picture. Right. this is an important slide which I wanted to talk about. Right in the year 2016 and 17, when the PISA exam was conducted, PISA was the standard to measure a student's ability of a country to perform certain actions in different subjects. Mainly, it was mathematical, scientific, and the literary part, the language. So the three areas of scientific literacy, mathematical literacy, and reading literacy were the three areas for PISA competencies. PISA competency, and I think in that particular year, uh, our country, out of 73 countries participating in it, I think we were almost the last. I think some of you might already know about it. 72nd position. That was our position, and India, Kelly, it was like more like a wake-up call. What is happening? And it is conducted only to 15-year-old students. The students who are in 10th standard, and there was a massive change. A lot of people started thinking about why we are so poor, even though my student is able to completely, iterate the whole chapter, especially in Tamil Nadu, in areas like Namakkal, in areas like Salem. The schools made rote learning so rigorous that the students even remembered the page numbers where a particular line of a chapter was supposed to be there. And that's when the country realized that this is something that's wrong, terribly wrong, that's happening. And hence the massive reform started happening. This particular research was properly done by British Council and UK NARIC. So NARIC was National Academic Recognition Information Center, and with in collaboration to British Council, two reports were submitted. Both of them are there in the NCRT website, which we will be talking about in few minutes. Yes, I'll be showing that to you in few minutes. So these people, once they said that right now the need is for assessments to immediately come into picture and bring a change in the education system. So that's where assessment for competency based education system for grade 10 got implemented last year. Some of you might wonder that it was because of the COVID pandemic. No, it was actually COVID pandemic was more like an accelerator for the whole process. But the process of implementation of competency based education system started way too long before the COVID itself. New education policies research has been happening for the last 7 to 8 years, and right now NEP 2020 is in existence. So let me quickly go to the next one. And yeah, so knowledge, skill, attitude. What is a competency? Knowledge, skill, and attitude put together with right combination to solve real life problems. I'll repeat it: real life problems constitutes to competency. Competency of a particular person is determined with knowledge, skill, and attitude put together with the skills required to apply that in the real life scenarios. How much a person is able to do that, that's called as competency. Let me stop share the screen for a few seconds. Let us consider Pravina ma'am. Okay, like we have Pravina ma'am over here, and Pravina ma'am is going to buy a vehicle. She's very much interested in riding a scooter. It's a passion, it's her hobby sort of a thing. She always goes for a ride, but this time she wants to buy her own scooter. Now what Pravina ma'am is doing is she's going to a market. She's finding the best scooter in the country. Say for example, the most common and the best scooter, say for example Honda Activa. Okay, she's purchasing Honda Activa. It's quite famous, many people use it. And Pravina is very excited about the color red. She likes red. And Pravina ma'am is riding all together across the street. She's flaunting her red colored Activa in her surroundings, and people are really excited about it. And all of a sudden, because of a lot of people looking at that vehicle, probably Pravina ma'am, nazar lag gaya, we call that. And her vehicle gets repaired. I mean, it's not functioning. It's not starting. Now Pravina ma'am is looking at two people in front of her. She has got a person called as Jansi ma'am. Jansi ma'am is right in front of her, who is actually an engineer. She has done her automobile engineering, and she is an expert in automobiles. No doubt in that. She knows quite a lot about, that particular area of vehicles, Jansi ma'am. And there's another person, Mr. Johnson over here, who is a mechanic working in her neighborhood, an extremely good mechanic who has got the skills of repairing any vehicle out there. I mean, he's really famous for that. And Pravina ma'am has got two choices of Jansi and Johnson. Can somebody tell me right now, Pravina ma'am's vehicle is repaired, it's not functioning. Should she go to Johnson, who is a mechanic over there, or should she go to Jansi, who is an automobile engineer over there? Please put it on the chat. Okay, everybody's with Johnson right now. Kanmani ma'am says Johnson. Okay, Arumal Thampi ma'am says Johnson, which is a mechanic. Absolutely, Johnson sir, or a mechanic. Yeah. Come on, go ahead, go ahead. Pravina ma'am would like to get her vehicle corrected. Whom should she go to? Johnson, Johnson's mechanic, absolutely. Okay, the voting for Johnson sir is getting increased drastically. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, please go ahead. Get committed to one of the answers. Jansi ma'am, I'm very sorry that the air is not there in your direction, or the wind is not in your direction. That's okay. Johnson, okay, now comes an interesting situation. Watch this very carefully. So here Johnson sir or the mechanic clearly wins. But now Pravina ma'am, while purchasing, okay, at first she will ask Jansi. Okay, okay. We'll talk about that, Bhadra ma'am. We'll talk about it. So Pravina ma'am, what she does is right now while purchasing the scooter, she's having this thing in her mind that I should not have the most common vehicle in the country. I don't want that. I want the first scooter that got launched in India. I want the first one. I want to be the person who want to tell people this is how it looks like, this is how it functions like. And she's buying the most new scooter in India. Say for example, Tesla doesn't make any scooter. Tesla is an organization, let's consider. It's not making any scooter, but for the first time they're making it only for Pravina ma'am. Just imagine. Okay. Now that particular scooter is coming into existence in India to Pravina ma'am's house. She's again excited. She's riding it. It gets repaired. Now there are two people in front of her, Mr. Johnson, who's a mechanic, and Miss Jansi, who's an engineer. Can you tell me right now or guide Pravina ma'am, whom should she go to in order to repair her the new vehicle? Come on, go ahead and start voting. This is a very new vehicle. Nobody has seen this before. Okay, now Jansi ma'am, you're getting the votes. Okay, Jansi, okay, Jancy, right ma'am? Yeah, okay. Jansi, okay, now engineer wins. Engineer Jansi, okay, that's great. Pushpalata ma'am, Abhishek, yeah. Mini ma'am still supports Johnson. That's okay, no problem. Yeah, it's quite evident from the majority of the answer out there that Jansi is the right person to, automobile engineer is the right person to go to this time. Teachers, look at the situation very carefully. Here in this case, Jansi, who is an engineer, represents the knowledge and the conceptual understanding of a particular topic. And Mr. Johnson is actually about the skills associated with that, the skill associated with that particular concept, but not so knowledgeable with the conceptual understanding. The skill is very important, no doubt in that. At the same time, whenever there is a system of creativity coming into picture, a new era of change, concept takes the first place. When concept comes into existence, skill takes a back seat, and the skills and concepts combination is the most important combination. And that's the reason everybody says to Pravina ma'am, don't go to mechanic or don't go to automobile engineer. Please go to a showroom where an engineer is a mechanic. I hope you're getting the point now. People ask everybody to go to a showroom to give the bike for service or car for service for the fact that we know that there is an engineer who's going to be a mechanic. He has got great understanding of, he or she has got great understanding of the concept as well as the skill area. Most importantly, these people love to do their job. A complete conceptual understanding without skill reduces your emotions on that particular topic. A complete skill oriented person without knowledge reduces your emotions towards that particular interest over the period of time. The person who will always be elated with interest and emotions to do a performance of a particular job is going to be the person who has got great understanding of the concept and a deeper understanding of the skills as well. This particular combination constitutes to competency of a particular person. If a person is really skillful, maybe the competency is quite high. If the person is very knowledgeable from the concept point of view, the competency is quite high. But the person who has the combination of both of these, the competency of that particular person is going to be definitely higher than the other two person. And that's how competency is judged for a particular person. I hope you are able to get the connect of what competency is all about. Competency cannot be measured so easily. A question paper needs to have one question, every question, in fact, one question which will be able to analyze the students' conceptual understanding and the skill associated with that. We will be definitely getting into the examples right now, right after this, and you'll get a clear picture of what we are intending to speak. Let me share my screen and show you this particular area of knowledge, skill, and attitude, right combination with respect to solve real life problems. Now, real life problems, the scooter example over here is the real life problem. In fact, all the lessons that we're talking about, it has to be associated so much with real life that the students want to know for, learn for more. I'll give you more examples. Let's go to the next one. So when we talk about this particular example of, just like the way we had the scooter example, we need to say, for example, let me take another person's Alka ma'am, for example. Alka ma'am, I come to Alka ma'am. Okay. Now, Alka ma'am, I'm having a little bit of fever, and Alka ma'am is not actually a nurse. Say, for example, she has a knowledge of medicine, knowledge of veins and arteries. Will she be able to inject me with the right way of injection? Is it possible? Basically, I'll be her test model, just like the way the rat is used in, the labs. I'll be the rat for her. It's not possible. She cannot do it. So the person with only knowledge of medicine and veins cannot be skillful at injection without having the skills of that. But somewhere the beginning has to happen, and that's where skill comes into picture. Suppose if that particular person has the idea of skill of finding veins, removing the air bubbles from the right spot, then the person might be able to inject the medicine the right way. But suppose on that day, Alka ma'am is not in a good mood. She fought with her husband or son, or the auto guy who was there right in front. I do not know, but she's really unhappy. She'll literally not inject, she'll stab me with injection. Stabbing is way too different and dangerous than injecting, right? So here we go. So attitude towards the patient's fear, reaction, and pain, attitude towards the disposal of used vial, these are the things that are associated. Now, knowledge, skill, and attitude put together comes under the category of competency. Now, here there might be a question for most of the people. What is the difference between skill, competency, and proficiency? Now, proficiency is a terminology that will be majorly used in any document that you're going to read after this for competency-based education system. And that's the reason I'm talking about it. So the three things: skill. When I talk about skill, it necessarily does not need to have the concept associated with. For example, Johnson, sir. Yeah, that's with respect to skill, because he's a mechanic and he's able to perform a very good job of things because it's in a repeat action. Competency is all about all the three things put together. Yeah, it's like cognitive process involved in performing complex tasks to achieve a result by knowledge, skill, and attitude in isolation or combination with each other. Forget about the statements if you're not able to comprehend. Totally fine, but you understood, right? Proficiency is the degree of competency, like how much you are able to be. So suppose if there are multiple speakers out there, not everybody can speak like probably Nelson Mandela. Not everybody can speak like Subhash Chandra Bose. Not everybody can speak like Swami Vivekanand, or Akbar or Babur or anybody, or Hitler for that matter. So in fact, Abraham Lincoln as well. The point here is everybody has got their own proficiencies and competencies of a demonstration of a particular area. Now, can you ever compare, like, Abraham Lincoln's speech is anytime better than Adolf Hitler's speech? No, we can't do that. Hence, measuring competency based education system or assessments is going to be quite a complex task. Anyway, so these are the major things with respect to competency based education system. Most of you would have got an idea of ye hota kya hai, what exactly this is all about. In further class, in some time, I'm going to talk about teachers and their involvement in CBE. But before that, these are the two statements that you need to remember. It is from the CBE framework document that says that the success of a CBE depends on how teachers adopt new pedagogical approaches in an effort to build the competencies. And when we talk about pedagogical approaches, what kind of teaching are you going to do in the class? Are you going to ask the students to create a mind map? Are you going to ask the students to sit in groups and study? It's all about the different teaching learning strategies. It is noteworthy. It's a very important point. There is no standard pedagogical approach, just like the way you saw in the video, to build a specific competency in students. Not at all. It's about the exposure and the environment that's provided to the students. And this may not be adapted to local context at all. Say, for example, if a child is there in Madhya Pradesh, the way the competency of a particular topic is developed is going to be entirely different from a child who is in Meghalaya or Assam. And it has got region specific approach also, which we will not be talking in this particular session, but in a detailed workshop of competency based education in the school with hands-on activities, which I can do. You can call me and I'll be there. There we can have the detailed understanding of what CB is all about with respect to region specificity. Yeah. So when we talk about CB and teachers, there are a lot of other points. I'm not really getting into all the details right now. It will become a little overwhelming for a Sunday. You would have imagined, chalo, aaj Sunday hai, we'll go out or buy chicken and have. I do not know. For vegetarians, probably will have the assorted vegetables or cashews and things like that. I'm really sorry that the session is happening on a Sunday, but getting all of you on one platform on a Sunday was much easier than your hectic schedule during the school days. And this particular recording will be there on YouTube, and you can access this anytime. The teachers can be guided. However, if you want a detailed understanding, the things are going to be a little different. So as of now, I would like to give a quick break before we actually get into PISA competencies and proficiencies and cater to individual subjects. We'll take a 5 minutes break, not more than that. Please come back by 10 o'clock, 9:57 or 10 o'clock, and we'll quickly start with the next aspect of competency-based education system. Thank you so much, teachers. See you in 5 minutes.
Biraz gardımızı anın şafatı yıma. Bu şey asıl, bu çürü uçu penye. Adını nerede? Yok, adye. O ne adı?
Welcome back, teachers. Welcome back. Yeah, I just started. Ma'am, I'm here. Kumari Shastri, ma'am. I'm so sorry. I got a little delayed. A small conflict for who will make the coffee in my house, my wife or me. So she won and I had to make the coffee. Got delayed. Very sorry. So anyways, let's get back to the topic. And I think you are able to hear me. Some of you are not able to hear me. Please check and connect yourself to the audio properly on Zoom, or else check your YouTube also. Let's quickly get on to the topic. So right now, before going ahead, there's another interesting thing that I came across with respect to grade 1 senior KG. This book was quite interesting, but it's again it's about NCRT, the way they do it. I'm going to ask a question. Just try to answer, like you know this answer, but it's definitely going to confuse you. And I'll repeat it. This is a question or a statement made to senior KG and grade 1 students. Okay, so the statement is something like this. The question is something like this. Whenever you're walking on the road, just assume that you need to cross the road right now. Okay, you need to cross the road, and this is a normal Indian road, and there's no divider and all, nothing like that. The vehicles can come in either directions. The question is, which side will you look first before crossing the road? Which side will you look first before crossing the road? Come on, think about it. And this should be a spontaneous answer. Put it on the chat. Put it on the chat. Hurry up. Which side should this, anybody? Okay. Abhishek says right. Bhadram says left. Come think about it. You need to cross the road. Which side will you look first and then cross the road? Okay, Srilata ma'am says right. Okay, now most of you are imagining as if you're there in the road and in fact literally moving your head, if I'm not wrong. If you're doing that, you're
Right.
really involved.
It should
Right,
be
right.
right.
It should be right. Okay, that's great. But I'm getting Anil's left. Okay. Many people are coming with the left as well. Go ahead, go ahead. That's okay. Commit to one answer. Getting committed to one of the answers will definitely improve your real life commitment skills as well. Right, right, right. Everybody says right. Okay, okay. Now, the situation is the same, very similar, but you have crossed the road right now somehow, looking on either side, and you have to cross from that side to this side. Which side will you look first now? Go ahead. You have crossed the road right now. Now you have to come from there to here. Which side will you look first?
Right.
Okay, Sarabjit is like right. Okay. Badramam says left. Okay. Right. Still right. Okay. Left. Neela ma'am says left. Amjad says left. Okay. Many other people in YouTube are also saying left and right. It's quite mixed. Teachers, you'll be surprised to look at the answer. Yes, of course, there is a right answer to this. And everybody who said that you have to look first left, you're wrong. It is actually you are supposed to see right first and then the left and then the right. It's like it's a sequence. All the vehicles in India will come from the left direction or the left side of the road. So keeping that in mind, when you're standing in either side of the road, you're always going to look at the right side only. So the whole scenario changes once you cross the road, and hence the answer remains the same. Small question, right? Not a big thing. However, the next question will be a little intriguing. Suppose if you're walking on a road, which side should you be actually walking? Okay, Shabira ma'am says right. Which side should you be actually walking? People say that keep to your left. So is it left or is it right? Okay,
Left. Left.
left.
We should walk on left.
We should walk on left. That's great, ma'am. I've got a lot of answers which says right as well. Deepali ma'am says left, left, left. Everybody, many people left. In fact, there are some schools wherein we have written in the staircase, keep to your left, so that the students, when they're walking down, they're always left. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. That's okay, no problem. Okay, so as per this particular statement, and it actually says that while walking, especially on roads in Indian scenario, keeping to your right is a more ideal solution than keeping to your left. Because if you keep to your right, you'll be able to see the vehicles that are coming in front of you. And if you're keeping to your left, you can't see the vehicles that are coming at the back. You can avoid accidents in case if you're walking on the right. Rule is to walk left, but we have to walk right. No, so these rules are not something that's written in any particular area. It's just more like a custom, more like something that's getting followed or convention. However, having said that, walking to your right is the statement that I saw in this senior KG book, wherein there is a depiction also. In fact, I'll substitute another point over here with this. In grade 1 or in grade 2, you'll be able to see in environment studies book, it says that sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Students believe that, and you also talk about it. If you come to grade 3 or grade 4, again sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Students are pretty convinced at this fact. Surprisingly, in grade 5 also, it's written the same. Students are like 100%, yeah, this is what it's happening. But when the child is coming to grade 6, we say that sun does not rise, it remains in the same place, but the planets revolve around the sun. Now that's when the students have great enlightenment and they're like, we were cheated all these years. Yeah. So depending on the pedagogy or depending on the age appropriateness of a certain standard, we talk about the concepts in a manner that the students can perceive. Now, this perception of what students would understand is a teacher-centric approach. Let me continue this. In fact, when the child is coming to grade 9, we say that even the planets or the sun, they keep moving away from the galaxy. Nobody's revolving anyone. It's just happening and everybody's moving away. Even sun is not remaining at the same place. And we call this as Big Bang theory, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So this is how, the explanation of a concept gets changed. Competency-based education tries to keep this uniform throughout. I'm going to show you something. It'll be pretty interesting. And these are the 3 pillars of CBE right now. CBE, when you talk about it in detailed manner, when you look into, the aspect of, catering to students of a particular age, These are the three major factors that will influence you to prepare your own questions. Now it's going to be completely activity oriented. I request everybody to participate as much as possible. Rajini ma'am, but it's easy to explain the direction east and west. No doubt, no doubt. And that's the reason you're doing that in that age. Probably in grade 9, the students are having the ability to tough explanations. And that's the reason we are saying that sun does not rise, it remains in the same place or moving along with the whole galaxy, right? So anyways, let me come to the next point. And this is where we get into when we talk about the competency based education, the research, it's completely going to be based on PISA competencies. And right now I'm going to show you something very interesting, and this will be more like a relief. Oh, this is the place where from where I should be knowing all these things. All you have to do is, I'm sorry, all you have to do is you need to go to the CBSE website. You know, once you go to the CBSE website, whatever we are talking right now, you'll be able to find all these things at these areas. Once you get into CBSE website, you'll have CBE resources. Yeah, there are a lot of topic under that, and foundational literacy and numeracy is one among them. So you click on CBSE resources. The moment you do that, you will get redirected to CBSE CBE resources. And this is going to be like the mother website of everything that's required for us to know with respect to competency based education system. Teachers, listen to me very carefully. Whenever we talk about education system, it could be anything across the globe. There are three things involved with it. The first thing is always the learning outcomes or learning objectives decided by that particular curriculum. For example, learning outcomes. Attending this particular curriculum, my child should be skillful and knowledgeable with respect to real life aspects of daily scenario. This is going to be a very overarching statement for a particular child, but that is totally fine because the child is not going to read this. This is something which is going to be read by a tutor or a trainer or a teacher or a school governing authority. It could be anyone. But the point here is, once we understand that it is about real life approach, all the examples related to that or related to any concept are going to be with real life application. That is going to give you the biggest cue of what should be there in the content. First is going to be learning outcomes or learning objectives. The second thing is going to be teaching learning strategies. In order to achieve these learning outcomes, I can't use anything that's coming across. I need to have certain strategies in collaboration to learning outcomes and objectives. Now comes the interesting part. In order to achieve the right teaching learning strategies properly, you need to have the content. I'll repeat it. You need to have the content. Now comes a question. Content, is that really important? No, not at all. Whatever content that we are teaching to the students at the current scenario, it can change. It can get changed. At hierarchy level, learning outcomes and objectives can never change. Teaching learning strategies up to a certain extent can change. Something that can change all the time is the content. You can use anything to explain anything, but learning outcomes can be achieved only with the right teaching learning strategies. I hope you're getting the connect. I'm not being very practical over here because I'm not giving you an activity right now to do it, which I'll be doing through physical implementation during our workshop in the schools, if it can happen whenever it happens. But right now, just to give you a gist about the three major aspects of any education system is going to be learning objectives and outcomes, teaching learning strategies associated with that, and right after that, the content associated with it. Now, this particular content, if it is done right, or if learning outcomes is done right, or if teaching learning strategies are done right, we have got assessments attached to all of these things. Assessments for teachers, assessments for students, assessment for and of learning. And this is depending upon a particular education system. All these three components with assessment put together is called as a framework. Most leaders and teachers will already know about this. I just wanted to emphasize this again, because once you come to this particular website, you'll be able to see that you will have learning frameworks. Yeah, the complete framework, which involves everything, the teacher resources, the assessment, and all these things. So once you make a mind map to yourself that this is how it will work, this is how it looks like, probably things will become a little easy. So once you come down, you'll be getting the features of CBE, the major explanation of all these things. But I would request you to please go to learning frameworks. When you go to learning frameworks, you'll be able to see that you've got NCERT learning outcome as the primary and the most important thing. See, that's the first. And when you come and click on it, learning outcomes at elementary stage, you'll be able to see this particular document over here. Let me click on that. I'm just closing the rest of the things. And for a teacher who's taking the classes, this is going to be your mother document. Every learning outcome of a particular grade is properly mentioned over here in this 128-page document. Let me randomly open a page. I'll show you how it looks like. So say for example, the first chapter is Hindi, of course, and then we have, yeah, it looks something like this. Say for example, class 8 English, elementary is from grade 1 to 8, the secondary is 9 to 12. So class 8, it talks about suggested pedagogical processes and the learning outcomes. So in order to achieve the learning outcome, let me read one of the learning outcomes. You'll get an understanding. The learner responds to instructions and announcements in school and public places. They are railway station, market, airport, cinema hall, and act accordingly. This has got nothing to do with what kind of chapters are present in your textbook. But look at the learning outcome, how overarching it is. The learner responds to instructions and announcements in school and public places. This was, I mean, this is so important according to the document that's mentioned over here. We hardly would have thought ki aisa bhi learning, outcome ho sakta hai. We wouldn't have thought like that, such kind of. In fact, read another one. Engages in conversation in English with people from different professions such as bank staff.
कपड़ा में
Uh,
पैक कर क्वेश्चंस या
Teachers, try to be on mute. Yeah, no problem. Engages in conversations in English with people from different professions such as bank staff, railway staff, using appropriate vocabulary. Now, this is for English teachers. So here, if you see corresponding, but these are not corresponding pedagogical practices. These are separately written over there. Sometimes it might match. Say, for example, participate in grammar games and kinesthetic activities for language learning. Now, in order to achieve these learning outcomes through these practices or processes, what kind of content should I use? The content can keep changing, but these things cannot change. So if you want to start writing your own lesson plan for this particular academic year, religiously, before going to the temple or any holy place that you would like to go, please take a printout of this particular document. Trust me, this is going to give you a wide range of lesson plans that you can actually write. And try to avoid all the lesson plans that are pre-made as of now. Frankly speaking, these lesson plans that are existing in the market right now with various organizations are kind of outdated. CBE resources are not just one or two. It's going to be a plethora of documents. I'm going to show that everything. Okay, so this is how for English they've written. Let me come down for the other subjects. We have got learning outcomes in mathematics, elementary stage. For grade 1, this is the mathematics. So the child is able to classify objects into different groups. These are the topics: identify and draw the things which are near, far, tall, short, thick, thin, comparative studies. And this is the suggested pedagogical process. This is the learning outcome. I hope everybody would have got some clarity about how learning outcomes can be extracted from CBE website. Let's go to the next one. The moment you get into learning outcomes, we have understood what it's all about. Next is suggested assessment framework. Now, this I'm not getting into the details right now because we don't have time for that. When you click on the PDF document, you'll be able to see the PDF document that I showed in the presentation. This is going to be a huge PDF document of 230 pages, but don't worry about it. Depending on the chapter, depending on the subject that you're teaching, the classifications are properly done. Like CBSE example for assessment item, class 10. In competency-based education system, they don't call a question as question. They call that as an item. So CBSE example, assessment item. It should be assessment question, class 10 reading. Question number 7. So in this way, they will have lots and lots of examples, and it's again more like a spoon feeding document, but don't worry about it. Once you start utilizing all these things little by little in your regular practice, you will also gain an expertise to make your own question paper. And in this particular session, I'll give you a little bit just about how you can make your own question paper as well. So right after that, we got to understand the assessment framework. Then comes the competency-based framework for literacy. We have 3 areas in which we can address competency-based education system currently. One is going to be scientific literacy, mathematical literacy, and reading literacy. Let's get into it one by one before the time's up. And for that, I need to go to this particular document and show you this particular area. Yes. So when we talk about this particular aspect of approach right now, generally we say that there are 3 elements that are involved for any planning. I should say any planning or any lesson plan. But right now, the fourth component has come into picture, which is called as technology, especially with the pandemic coming into picture. This got more importance. That's how we are connected today like this. So the GT4U, like golden tetrahedron model for CB implementation, is understanding the curriculum, the most important. Like what is it, CBE, or is something by somebody else? It could be Australian or IB curriculum or CBS. It could be anything. Then utilizing the upskilling the pedagogy, upgrading the assessment, and utilizing the technology. This is the golden tetrahedron model for CB implementation. Do not worry about it. I'm not getting into the details of each areas as of now. I'm just going to speak to the point with respect to CBE. Now we have three areas of golden triangle, like basically it was tetrahedron with technology. When I remove that, curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. Now, when I talk about CB whole system, the education system, these three will have to be working together at every second of your execution. I'll show that. So curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment are inseparable elements, and none of them can work in independence. I am coming down. I'm being a little fast. You can pause the video on YouTube and you can check it out. But right now, I want to get into the details of the curriculum framework and the three competencies. I'm not getting into the syllabus. I'm not getting into the pedagogy or anything. Yeah, so we know that PISA is the one based on which the whole competencies is designed right now. Let's not get into the background. Let's get into the first area called as scientific literacy. Scientific literacy in today's context is just not about how to read science and all. It's about comprehending science. You will know that right after this. It encompasses a wide range of abilities that can enable students to engage with their environment and with the society. It could be socially, economically, and politically in a range of context. This sentence is not making so much of sense. I'll give you a proper sense right after this. So when we talk about scientific literacy, it is divided into three major areas. First is explaining phenomena scientifically. A child or anybody who's learning in this particular system of competency-based education system, they should be able to explain a phenomena scientifically. Like if you ask a child, like how does water vapor gets formed, they should not give lame answers like it's because of the rain water or it's because of the water that's present in air. Rather than saying that, if a child is able to say that the molecules that are present in the air are getting absorbed by the surface of that particular material because of the temperature difference that's present. I hope you're getting the point. The terminologies used are completely scientific in nature. The ability of a child to do that at different levels, explaining phenomena scientifically, caters to this particular area of first competency. I'll repeat it. Every competency over here that I'm going to mention will have its own proficiency. You remember proficiency? We were talking about different levels of competency. I am not talking about those proficiency right now. I'm just telling you what exactly this is. When we talk about proficiency, there are 7 proficiencies mentioned in one of the documents in the website. I'll talk about that. I will show that to you right now, and I'll talk about that in the actual session whenever it's happening in the school. Explaining phenomena scientifically. Okay, the student or the learner should be able to recognize, recognizing, offering, and evaluating explanation for a range of natural and technological phenomena. I'll give you more examples. Please don't worry if you're not understanding. The second aspect is evaluating and designing scientific inquiry. Now, explanation is chalega, not a problem. But how to evaluate? If there is a situation happening right in front of you, you should be able to reason it properly. Yeah, it's because of so and so reason. And similarly, the next point is quite very close to it. Interpreting data and evidence scientifically. It will be very difficult for a teacher right now at this stage to identify the difference between evaluate and design scientific inquiry, interpret data and evidence scientifically. थोड़ा सा difficult होगा, but don't worry about it. Let's go to the examples right now. Teachers, listen to me very carefully. This is getting interesting after this, and I would like to request your answer right after this. Okay, there is this question over here that's written. One way of producing drinking water from seawater is by reverse osmosis. Look at the question item over here. They've already mentioned that it's going to be reverse osmosis, and they're also explaining reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a type of filtration. Seawater is pushed through a semi-permeable membrane. Pressure is applied to the seawater. Semi-permeable membrane means salt is trapped on one side and the water can pass through it. The trapped salts from a seawater concentrate on one side of the membrane. You can see that the whole picture is represented over here. The seawater intake happens from here. It goes to the pumping station. the pump actually puts it inside a place wherein there is a membrane or a semi-permeable membrane. In this membrane, only pure water can pass through, but the salt that remains over here, which is thrown back. Seawater concentrate is thrown back to the ocean from the storage tank, delivery pump, and water distribution system. Look at the question: where do the trapped salts go? Can somebody tell me the answer? Where do the trapped salts go? Does it go to ocean? Does it go to storage tank? Does it go to delivery pipeline or water distribution system? Please put it on the chat. Teachers, if you're able to cross this particular areas of three competency-based education, trust me, you will be able to make your own paper right after this. Please put it on the chat. Where do trap salts go? Okay. Okay. Some people say ocean. Some people say storage tank. Think about it. Look at the picture once more, please. Think about it. Look at the picture once more, please. Come on. I'm waiting for more number of answers, please. Delivery pump? No. You can put the answer on the chat. Please chat. Okay, delivery pump. No, that's not the right answer. Okay, Shibi says it's ocean. Okay, I'm waiting for you to read the question once more. Okay, Anil says A. Okay, okay. Think about it, teachers, please. Come on. Ocean, seawater outlet. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, okay. Anyone else? Last 10 seconds. Johnson, sir. Yeah, absolutely. A. Okay, 5, 4, 3. Yeah, Benny, absolutely right. Benny, ma'am. B, D. No. Outlet. Exactly. Everybody who said the answer to be A are right. The trap salts go back to the ocean. Now, it's not about the right answer over here. It is about which area does it constitute to? Is it explaining phenomena scientifically, evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, or interpreting data and evidence scientifically? Can somebody tell me which area does it actually address? This particular question, where do trap salts go, with this particular explanation, which area does it address? It's going to be little uncomfortable or little not so easy to understand, but trust me, with multiple examples, you'll be able to do it. And I'm not going to give the right answer right now. Is it explaining phenomena scientifically, evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, or interpreting data and evidence scientifically? Analyzing
Sir,
and evaluating.
interpreting data. Interpreting
Interpreting
data.
data. Okay, that's interpreting data. That's great. Okay, many people say evaluate and design. Some people say interpreting data. Come on, you know this. Third, Vani ma'am, you're right. Or wrong, I don't know. I'm not talking about it right now. Evaluation, interpreting data. That's great. Many people are joining towards interpreting data. Explaining phenomena scientifically. No. Is it that? Okay, let's go to the next example. We'll talk about it. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. Now, this is another interesting question. Cholera is a disease caused by bacteria. Okay, the symptoms are severe diarrhea and vomiting. Now, this is a situation that happened in real time. In August of 1854, there was a cholera epidemic in London. And at that time, it was assumed that cholera was airborne. It was traveling through wind and air. And John Snow, a British doctor, did not believe with this theory. Snow studied the pattern of deaths from the disease and he plotted a map. Just imagine, just like the way in COVID it's happening, they actually plot a map how the disease is getting spread. And in this particular map, he was able to point out certain things. You can see that wherever there is a circle, that's where the water pump is present. 1, 2, 3, 4. And wherever there are dash, these small dash, that's where diseased people are there, the people who passed away. Now, here in this question, it's a very different kind of a question. Jon Snow has to research about it, okay? And he has to ask certain type of questions. We have to tell if this particular question is appropriate or not. As simple as that. Appropriate or not. I'm going to give 10 to 15 seconds for you all to read that thing again. Cholera is a disease caused by bacteria. The symptoms are severe diarrhea and vomiting. Just read that once more. I'm going to keep quiet for the next 15 seconds and then I'll ask the question. Three, two, one. I hope you got an idea. Okay, now come to the question part. Now here in this case, the doctor is going to ask a question. Ask relatives of those that died from which pump they collected their water from. Now this particular doctor is actually doing a research. Is this question appropriate for him to get convinced if the disease is getting spread by water or air? You can say yes or no on the chat. Ask relatives of those that died which pump they collected their water from. You can say yes or no on the chat. Okay, okay. Many people are coming up with good answers. That's great. Everybody says yes. Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's go to the next question. Next question. Find out who the cholera victims came into contact with just before they became ill. Find out who the cholera victims came into contact with just before they became ill. To check if they just came in contact and it got like was it what do you call that, communicable disease, right? Yeah, did it get communicated? I don't know. Okay, yes, that's also a relevant question, Abhishek. Vani ma'am, just now, that's great. And find out the next question. Find out the direction of the wind that was blowing before the cholera outbreak. Find out the direction the wind was blowing before the cholera outbreak. Okay, some people say no, some people say yes. Remember this, according to the data or according to the current belief, people are believing that it's because of the air. So is this question relevant? Find out the direction the wind was blowing before the cholera outbreak. Okay, many people say no, no. Umakant says yes. Shibi says yes. If you want to change the answer, you can. That's okay. Okay, you'll be surprised to know that even in COVID pandemic, the first thing that was studied in the country was the direction of the wind. Yeah, the direction of wind is a key factor in understanding the way the disease gets spread. And in COVID case, the wind speed has to be above a certain threshold value for which, that gets transferred. Otherwise, it's quite heavy and it settles down on the ground, it seems. So COVID-19 was actually not communicable through wind. That was a conclusion by WHO. However, but for this particular question, is this question relevant or not is the question. And absolutely, yes, this question is also relevant. So we say yes to every question. Now, can somebody tell me which area does it cater to? Does it cater to explaining phenomena scientifically? First option. Evaluating and designing scientific inquiries? Second option. Interpreting data and evidence scientifically? Come on, go ahead. Third one, interpreting data and evidence scientifically. Okay, that's great. Analyzing and evaluating data, claims, and arguments in a variety of representations and drawing appropriate scientific conclusions. Okay, as most of you, majority of you are saying that, yeah, for this particular question, it becomes quite obvious. Interpreting data and evidence scientifically is the right answer. Yes. For the previous question where we were talking about, seawater. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's go to the next question. Watch this question very carefully, teachers. Then we'll go to mathematical literacy. Spider or insect walking on water? Metal paperclip floating on water in a glass. I do not know how many of you have seen this, but there have been times when you would have definitely seen some insect walking over the water. Look at the pictures of the spider and the metal paperclip. What is the reason that both the spider and paperclip can stay on top of the water? Is it lack of gravity? Is it surface tension of water? Is it buoyancy force or muscular force? Put it on the chat. Some of the teachers might be like, on a Sunday morning, Q science ka questions pooch kar, you are breaking our brains. I'm pretty sure about it. Don't mistake me. Trust me, this will definitely give you very good clarity. Okay, many people are coming up with multiple answers. It's not about the right or wrong answer over here. Don't worry about it. Look at the pictures of the spider and the metal paper clip. What is the reason that both the spider and the paper clip can stay on top of the water? Okay, people say multiple answers. Okay, but the majorities are going with B for Bombay. Yeah, everybody who said A, C, D are wrong. B for Bombay is the right answer. Surface tension of water. Forget about right or wrong. But this particular question requires, as Sarabjit ma'am was talking about earlier, the previous knowledge. So now can you tell me? Which area does it cater to? Does it cater to explaining phenomena scientifically? Does it cater to evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, or interpreting data and evidence scientifically? Think about it. Come on. Okay, people say evaluating and designing scientific inquiry. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's okay. If you're not able to get this in the first go, that's totally fine. Okay, so I'll show you all the questions once more. This is the first question. We were talking about water distribution system. Does it cater to explanation? Does it cater to evaluation? Does it cater to interpretation? Next question. Does this cater to explanation, evaluation, and interpretation? Again, does this cater to explanation, evaluation, and interpretation? I think you would have got an idea of all the three, right? So now let me show you the last question, which comes over here with spider. Which area does it cater to? Explaining phenomena scientifically, evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, and interpreting data and evidence scientifically. You can read the description out there. You'll be able to understand that very easily then. Come on. Yeah, people have changed the answers. So the surface tension question, yeah, Lijimam, you're right. The surface tension question actually talks about explaining phenomena scientifically. You need to know that scientific explanation before itself for you to answer that question. That's where recognizing, offering, and evaluating explanations for a range of natural and technological phenomena. So in fact, when you talk about evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, that is actually this particular area. You are making your own this particular area. You are coming up with your own question of how does it actually happen? There is a representation that is given before itself, which is being evaluated. But this particular question, wherein nothing is given to us, it's something that you are depicting by yourself, and that's where the interpretation comes into picture. Teachers, if you're not able to understand in the first go, don't worry about it. Evaluation is something that has got to do with an existing data, and you work on that. Interpretation is all about you creating that data in a certain manner, and that's what is mentioned over here. Evaluating and designing scientific inquiry, and interpreting and coming to analyze a particular data like scientifically. Now there might be some people out there, the principals, the teachers, that when you try to Google about all these three things, there are thousands of explanation given by multiple other websites. Please do not get carried away with that. In fact, I was carried away initially when I was preparing for it. Then I realized that whatever is mentioned on your NCRT website or CBE resources website is going to be the point of understanding. Let me show you that particular aspect right now. And for that, I need to go to this particular website called a CBE resources. Yeah, so when you get into the scientific literacy document, just the moment I open, you'll be surprised to see whatever we spoke right now in last 10 to 15 minutes is actually 230-page document. It is not so easy for us to try to understand and digest it in the first go. Don't worry about it, but that's totally fine. When you come down a little bit, like I'm just randomly opening a certain page, I come over here. See, so depending upon a particular teacher's subject, I'm just zooming it a little bit. So for every chapter number with chapter name, the strand actually talks about physical sciences or what kind of area that you're catering to, along with the concept and logic, along with the learning outcomes, along with the method to measure the learning outcome. There is a code which I will not talk about right now. We'll talk about that later. Learning objective, explain phenomena scientifically. Is it there? Yes. The other two categories is not there for this particular topic. Evaluate and design scientific, zarurat nahi hai. It is not required. Interpret data, it's not required. So the three areas of scientific literacy is present over here. For every chapter, depending on the bifurcation of the chapter, you will get to understand which is for explanation, which is for evaluation, and which is for interpretation. I hope you're getting the connect. Yeah, I'm being a little fast, but don't worry about it. There are some areas wherein the examples are suggested for pedagogical practices. So here in this page, I'm randomly opening and I'm not able to find any. My bad. I need to scroll down and down. So there are places where it's like, yahan pe hai. It's like cooperative learning and experiential learning can be used. And this is a topic on mode of nutrition and plants. Nutrition plants is the name of the chapter, and this is for grade 7 life sciences. I would like to quickly give you one example before going ahead, and almost we are done right now. We will not be talking about mathematical literacy and reading literacy in this particular class because we don't have time for that. But I hope you understood scientific literacy. Very similar to that, you have mathematical literacy and reading literacy. One example that we found in one of the teachers in one of the classroom observation was amazing. That particular teacher told, one boy was being very naughty, and there was a punishment given to this boy for him to go and sit between, two other boys. Yeah. One second. Two other boys. Now the teacher's intention was to make sure, say for example, let us consider three people right now. Let's have who should I? Okay, Sibi. We have Sibi sir, we have Binod, and let's have Johnson sir again. Yeah, or Shanto. Let's have Shanto. So Shanto Philip sir is here. So Philip sir, Bino Prasad, and we have Sibi. Now, Sibi is the naughty one over here. Okay, the teacher is asking Sibi to go and sit between Binod Prasad and Philip sir. Now, once he goes and sits between, the teacher's intention is to make sure that Sibi is becoming a good boy by being with Philip and Binod Prasad. Surprisingly, Sibi is having such an aura. He's so smart, or I shouldn't say what, I don't know what to say, but Philip and Binod Prasad becomes bad boys. Are you able to understand over here? So the effect of Sibi on Philip and Binod was much higher than effect of Philip and Binod on Sibi. Teachers, here the teacher gave a very good example. I thought this is going to be a symbiotic relationship, but it came out to be a parasitic relationship. Now, the moment you talk about symbiosis and parasites, it's a very good example in the science book, wherein parasites are those creatures that are actually, they live on another host or somebody else's house, and they exploit them. It's like fungus could be one good example. So suppose if I get Sibi is going and sitting with Philip and the other person, Philip is getting spoiled over here. So this is where Sibi is acting like a parasite. Now, when we talk about symbiotic relationship, the teacher's intention, both could have been benefited from each other, and they could have grown together. Now, that's called as symbiosis. Now, we should all aim for symbiotic relationship and not parasitic relationship. And in fact, since that day, that particular child in that school for, I think, 1 or 2 days was called as a parasite. But he was not unhappy about it. The teacher, the way she projected in front of the students, it was so beautiful, and the parasite was not constituted as a negative attribute because it was a new terminology that's present on the textbook. The students, while writing the exam, would not have remembered what parasite is, but they would have definitely remembered Sibi as a name. And then the contributes to further learning. The point here is, when you talk about scientific literacy, even if a teacher, while giving a punishment, a simple one, there also, if you're able to incorporate such kind of real life application, execution of competency based education system becomes very, very easy. This was just one example. Let me quickly show you one last website on, or methods on how to use assessment. For that, I require you to watch one video, and then we will continue with the further aspect. Go on mute, please. Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen in a moment. I go over here. Okay. So in reference to this particular topic of competency based education and the assessment, it's at least 10 hours is the actual execution, wherein a teacher will have the first level of execution of competency based education, hands-on experience. Until then, it'll become quite intriguing for people to understand what exactly it is and how to implement this in the real life. Hence, I would really request the teachers out there to go through the website that I'm mentioning of CB resources. Right after this class, you will get a clarity, and that will give you very good perspective on how to continue further. So let me just yeah, here it is. And this is again the same competency based education video that we were talking about initially. Yeah, it's not getting played. Come on. Great. I'm just going to play one part of the video, not completely.
Understanding competency based education. Welcome to Module 1 of this course on competency-based education. By the end of this module, you will be able to describe the concept of competency-based education or CBE, understand the need for competency-based education, and list down the differences between traditional and competency-based education. Let us begin with Part 1. In this topic, we will be exploring the concept of competency-based education. We will be elaborating on the 6 components of CBE and the impact of CBE on learning. First, let's understand the concept of competency. What is a competency? Competency can be defined as an individual's capability of performing a task successfully in professional, educational, and other life contexts by using knowledge, skills, and abilities. Knowledge. Knowledge is the conceptual and theoretical understanding of the subject. It is a visible characteristic that can be easily developed through a good competency-based education. Skills. A skill is a measurable and observable proficiency that is learned through training or experience. It is also a visible characteristic that can be easily developed through a good competency-based education. Abilities. An ability is the vast underlying capacity or talent that is essential to learn and apply knowledge and skills. It is a hidden characteristic we are naturally capable to learn, which develops even without formal instruction. Now let us understand what is competency-based education or CBE. In the year 2011, a group of 100 experts and educators came together for the first time and agreed upon a 5-point working definition of competency-based education. According to them, CBE, which is also known as Mastery or Proficiency-Based Education, is a high-quality education system in which students are engaged and motivated by educators to advance upon demonstrated mastery. Measurable, transferable, and well-defined competencies and learning outcomes are articulated to empower students. Assessment of competencies and content or concept or knowledge is meaningful and a positive learning experience for students. Students receive timely, differentiated support based on their individual learning needs, and learning outcomes emphasize competencies that include application, analysis, evaluation of competencies, and content and creation of knowledge, along with the development of important skills and dispositions.
So this particular module, when it gets continued, you will get the complete understanding of what Diksha has to offer. I would like to highlight one more point over here is this particular Diksha tutorial of competency-based education was launched quite a long time back. And there are some upgradations in the documents over here in the website. So once you talk about scientific, mathematical, and reading literacy, this is still not updated on Diksha. And this down the line, I think it's getting developed. You will be able to see that as well. And people like us will be able to train you on these topics as and when the requirement comes. And if a school can call us, we'll be definitely there to connect the whole thing all together. We talk about teacher resources in the website. When you get into this is going to be another document that will give you complete everything about a particular subject, like all the questionnaire, the learning plans, the lesson plans, everything. And these are quite big documents. So depending on the chapter that you're going to take, you can just actually use it. So this is 10th standard mathematics, and it's a resource manual. When you come down, you'll be able to see, let me show you some of the tabular columns out there. Yeah, here it is. So these are some of the examples for the questions that are drafted over here. So again, completely based on competency based education system. So these are model question papers. These are drafted at different levels by various experts across, and CBSE has already launched this in the website through CBE resources. Depending on the grade that you take, you can actually use this. There is a separate teacher training module on CBE, the one which I showed you right now. When you click on that, you have the audio video content from Diksha app. So whatever I showed you right now, you'll be able to access that from over here. Similarly, we have teachers resource for achieving learning outcomes. Whatever learning outcomes were mentioned in the document, that you can see from here. That is how it looks like. Again, it'll take a few seconds to get loaded up. Let me show you. Yeah, teachers resources for achieving learning outcomes for classes 1 to 10. So depending on the scenarios, depending on your class, you can just pick and choose whatever is required and start going through. An average teacher with regular school work is found to be able to complete her area of content in minimum of 3 months. It takes at least 2 to 3 hours in a particular day, and 3 months of execution, somebody is able to completely acquire the knowledge of CBE as per the current resources. So hence, do not push yourself hard. Do not think that it's so much to learn. Of course, there are a lot of things to learn. However, there are people who are there to support you. Say, for example, CBSE out there, they've got their complete question bank ready-made. So with those resources, you'll be able to make your own questions. If you're not able to do that initially, you can use a question bank that's present out. And in fact, you also have practice question papers. You have video series on assessment and evaluation. When you click on the view videos, you'll get to see how to make a particular question item. Whatever I'm talking about, those things are going to be present over here as well. It's actually getting loaded slowly, and these are the videos that are present. So extended response question, item production process, all these are recorded and present over here, so that as a teacher, you can get back whenever you want and you will be able to take it up. So then key stage assessment is another area on how to pull out information more from report point of view. So you can use all these things one by one, and I think some of you would have actually known about SAFL, right? Structured assessment for analyzing learning. That's okay. So this is where the complete details of whatever you are supposed to learn, competency based education system is present. Right now, as a closing point, let me show you this particular area of how to create a question item. This is going to be the last part, and it will not take more than 5 or 7 minutes. We'll quickly go through all these things. It's going to be more like a rapid fire thing. But yes, steps to create an MCQ. MCQ is one of the key aspects of PISA exam. So PISA competency. That's the reason this particular slide is something that I'm talking about. During our actual training program, this will be dealt in detail. Defining the question objective. Now, in this particular area, you can actually have the competency also present over here, like explanation, the evaluation, and the interpretation. This is for scientific literacy. Yeah. The similar thing is for maths and reading also. Defining the question objective, framing the question item, specifying the correct answer, creating distractors. It is found that creating distractors have been more difficult than writing the right answer. Creating feedback for distractors and providing feedback for the correct answer. This is the actual step to create an MCQ as per CBSE. Let me go down and show you some examples. I'm not going to get into the details of it. I'm not going to talk about the misconceptions, but these are the types of multiple choice questions. So you have simple MCQ. You would have seen this during your 10th standard exam. Complex MCQ, which talks about multiple selection, assertion and reasoning, case-based, sequencing, and multiple correct answers. Now, when I talk about multiple selection, we might think that there are 4 options and you select multiple option. No, multiple selection is about the options are given in the question itself, and you have to select multiple of them. Not understood, right? Let me show you one by one. So first of all, simple MCQ. I'll directly go over here. I'm asking a question. Teachers, look at this very carefully and you have to answer the question. The following graph depicts a person's movement and the time taken for the journey. Something like this. Okay. Which of the following is represented by the graph? First, he moved in a straight line and then he turned towards right and then he turns towards left. This is option number A. First, he moved with constant speed, then stopped and then started moving again. That's option number B. First, he moved a small distance, then a large distance, and then a very small distance. That's option number C. Option number D, first he moved with increasing speed, then with constant speed, and finally with increasing speed again. Come on, teachers, try to give the right answer over here. Put it on the chat, A, B, C, D. I'm pretty sure some of you must be thinking like too much of science is happening today. And okay, Badram says ABC. No, only one option is right over here. D. First he moved with increasing speed, then with a constant speed, and finally with increasing speed again. Teachers, I would like to request you to please think again. You can see the graph. One is distance. Here, when you go over here, the distance is getting increased. The distance was supposed to be 0. Here it is 1 kilometer, it's 2 kilometer, it's 3 kilometer. At this point, probably it's 10 kilometers, 11, 12. Time, it's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, something like that. Now, can somebody come up with an answer? It's quite confusing. Don't worry about it. This is an 8th standard question where we talk, no, 9th standard question talking about, velocity and things like that. But yeah, the right answer here is everybody who said the option A, C, and D for Delhi are wrong. The right answer is B for Bombay. First, he moved with constant speed, then stopped. The stop is a keyword over here. That's the reason the distance remains the same. If it's 10 kilometers over here, it's going to remain 10 kilometers until the time taken is for another 10 seconds. B is the right answer, B for Bombay. And then he started moving again. That's okay. It's not about the right answer. It's about the type of question. Let's go to the next question. In which of the following circles is shaded region represents 3 by 7? 3 by 7. Now, these are simple MCQs. Simple MCQs need not be simple in conceptual clarity. It's just a simple statement with 4 options. 3 by 7 over here. Put it on the chat. C is the right answer. Absolutely. Yeah, C is the right answer. Quite obvious. Yeah, C is the right answer. Let's go to the next area. Okay, I'm not doing this. Yeah. Now, this is the place wherein this will get interesting. And this is called as multiple selection. The following tumblers made out of different materials. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see who's going to first answer this. Which of them can reflect light? Which of them can reflect light? Okay, people are already there with answers. You can see that only one and two, only 1, 2, and 3, and you have all 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so here you're selecting multiple options for a correct answer. That is why this is called as multiple selection. Lata ma'am says A. Oh my God, everybody's going to laugh right after I say the answer. Okay. Teachers, last 5 seconds, please put the answer. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to smile right after the answer. The following tumblers are made out of different materials. 1, 2, 3, 4. Steel, glass, paper, clay. Okay, which of them can reflect light? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody who said the answer to be A, B, C, B for Bombay are wrong. Right answer is D, D for Delhi. All 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the reason you're able to see them. You can't see a material if light cannot get reflected from that particular object. Yeah, D is the right answer. I'm pretty sure you're all smiling, but your video is turned off, so I can't see that. That's totally fine. That's okay. So we go to the next question. And this is also a little interesting, so I'll keep this over here. There were 3 different paths taken. Okay, I think it's getting hidden, but chalega. There were 3 different paths taken at a place as shown below. This is actually a racing track. Okay, this is the path of a person. A jogger kept his water bottle on the ground and started to jog on a track. He observed that he remained at the same distance from the bottle. Which track or tracks could he have been running on? Remember the cue, it's like he observed that he remained at the same distance from the bottle. He kept the water bottle somewhere in the ground and he's always there in the same distance. Like, can somebody tell me what is the right answer over here? Only 1 and 2, only 1 and 3, any of 1, 2, and 3. Multiple selection. I hope everybody's getting the connect of it. Okay. Okay. Vani ma'am says A. Okay. Rachani ma'am says 4. No. Come on. Give an attempt. Okay. People say A, D, A, C. Pushpalata ma'am says 1, 2, and 3. Pravina ma'am says A. The water bottle is kept on the ground and he's jogging. He's surprised to see that the distance is always the same. B, A. Teachers, everybody who said the answer to B for Bombay, C for whatever, B, C, D are wrong. Only 1. A is the right answer. The distance will always remain the same only when you're running in a circular path. Yeah, circle. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm not going to the next question, but these are another one, structure of an MCQ basically. So it will consist of stem is the question, condition plus action, condition plus action. Options will have key and distractors. For example, which of the following planets is nearest to Earth? So nearest to Earth is a condition. Which of the following planet is an action? That's something that you're supposed to do. That's called a stem. And the right answer is Venus, which is the answer key, and others are distractors. Yeah. So these are some of the types of MCQs. I'm not getting into the other areas of assertion, reasoning, and all. It'll delay our training process. As I said, this particular training is just about competency-based education and a methodology to create questions according to that. And all of these questions cater to one of the areas of explanation, evaluation, and interpretation, which we will talk in the actual coding competency based education classes if it happens in the school. I would like to request all the school leaders and teachers to please reach out to me right now. You will be receiving a certificate for attending this particular workshop, and there's going to be a form that gets launched on YouTube live streaming chat and Zoom chat as well. I would like to request all the people to write your names according to the way you want it to be represented on your certificate. So please fill up the form that's going to come on the chat right now. So super teacher team member, are you there? Please put the link on the chat right away on Zoom and YouTube live link. That's great. That's the attendance form is the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. You can just fill it up. And once you fill that up, you'll get an idea of, yeah. So teachers, it was great interacting with you. Please fill up the attendance form in order to receive the certificates. It's my humble request. You have attended this, and I'm pretty sure you would have learned quite a lot of information in a short span of time, spending a lot of energy on a Sunday, sacrificing your sleep. Trust me, you deserve a certificate. So I would request you all to please, it is asking permission. Sushmita, check on that. It's asking for permission. Please make it open completely immediately. Copy the link and keep it with you, teachers. And probably once the permission is taken away, you'll be able to fill it up. And I would like to request the other teachers, once you're starting to fill the form, are you able to do it or not? Put it on the chat. It'll become easy for me to tell the other teachers. Fill the form, attendance form. The link is going to be there on the chat multiple times. Don't worry about it. You will receive the certificates based on the form's entry. And if asking permission, okay. Okay, thank you so much. Remove the restricted option. Super teacher team members, do that. Okay. Teachers, in order to let me quickly show you, I mean, by the time you're filling up all these things, I want to show you something really important. The topics as per the CBSE training programs, that will give you a very good picture of what is supposed to be learned by a teacher at the current scenario. So let me show that to you over here. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, teachers. I'm just noticing the feedback and the appreciation on the chat. Thank you very much, all the teachers. It was great interacting with one and all. Fill up the attendance form, and in the meanwhile, Step Up Academic Excellence Program. Let me come down, and in a gist, I'll show you all the topics. So these are some of the topics that we conduct the training programs on to all the schools. Yeah, here it is. So today we got into steps towards CBE system, a little bit of creating LOs and Bloom's taxonomy, and we also got into assessment, art and science of making assessment for competency-based education system. So these are the areas wherein we touched upon in today's session. So depending upon the requirement of a school, we will ensure that we send this to all of you, all the school leaders, so that you can choose the topic that's most appropriate for your school scenario, and we will be able to conduct the trainings accordingly. So these are some of the topics. We also have computer-based coding programs and robotics programs for the schools. If any school is trying to incorporate or implement a new coding program into the school, we would request you to please talk to us once. I'll be able to give you very good clarity on NEP 2020 and its relevance with coding curriculum, and the content of what should be present from grade 1 to 12. You will get a clear bird's eye view of how things are represented through this particular picturization of CS Foundation, Discovery and Expedition, which talks about digital literacy, citizenship. All these are as per NEP 2020. And if anybody is interested to talk about this as well, please contact us. you'll be able to reach out to us at connect@superteacher.in website, mail ID, and you can actually go to the website as well. So this is a little bit of my organization, and I wanted to talk about that. Anish ma'am, okay, I'm going to put my contact number right away. So Sushmita, try to put the contact number of super teacher and whatever is relevant on the chat right away. Give a small description so that the teachers can contact us little later also. And here are the topics of step up. So teachers, I hope you are filling up the attendance form right now. I hope the error is corrected right now. Sushmita, is it corrected? Please mention it in the chat once more. Done. That's great. That's great. That's great. Done. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Yeah, I'm stopping the screen share right now. Yeah. That's great. So teachers, that's it from my side. It was really great interacting with all the teachers out there. And one more time, I apologize for having this session on a Sunday, but I am pretty sure that it would have been a little productive knowing all these things. And I wish for conducting such sessions in physical aspects as well, so that we have great interaction and immediate learning of whatever is trending right now. Thank you so much. It was great once again. And we will be sending the attendance forms multiple times over here. And all the teachers whose examples I took, like Johnson sir, I considered you to be a mechanic, at Jancy ma'am, the engineer. I thank you so much for being supportive. Please do not mistake me if I was a little offensive here and there. It was necessary for me to take some examples to have good interaction out there. That's all. That's all. Thank you, teachers. It was great. Thank you all the school leaders for joining the session. Looking forward to meet you all in the actual school scenario with all the programs that we have in our website. Superteacher.in is the right place. I live in Bangalore. If anybody would like to call me right now and ask me to come and meet you right now, I'll be there in 10-15 minutes. Today's Sunday, so no traffic. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Super teacher team member Sushmita, please put the phone numbers on the chat so that the people can save it and they can get back to us a little later. Vani ma'am, it will be there right away, few minutes, and we can interact. Yes, yes. So the toll-free number is there, 1800-123. It will not have too much of IVRs and all. Don't worry about it. Directly you call, somebody will pick up. And if that person is not picking up, the next person will pick up. I am one of the persons, so I'll definitely pick up your call. Don't worry about it. Or email us to connect@superteacher.in. Thank you so much. Great interacting with one and all. I'll meet you all in the actual school premises and scenario. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pushpalata ma'am. Thank you, Aramal Thampi ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mary ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Harjeet Kaur. Thank you so much, ma'am. Moni ma'am, thank you. Jyoti ma'am, thank you. Thank you, Karishma ma'am, means a lot. Have a lovely Sunday to you too, Leena ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uma Joshi ma'am, means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Geeta. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Yes. Thank you, Arumal Thambi ma'am. Thank you so much. Vani ma'am, you've been very participative. Thank you so much for that. Anand sir, thank you so much. Sister Roshama, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Manu Paul, thank you so much. Praveena ma'am, thank you so much. I think you have an Honda Activa. I do not know. I hope you have that. Thank you so much. Bini ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Anees ma'am. Means a lot. I wish to interact with you very soon. Yeah, as you said. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aramal Thampi ma'am. Great. Thanks for those blessings. Thank you, Aarti ma'am. Thank you, Rajani ma'am. Thank you so much, Rajani Pichar Bram. I'm really not sure if